You may be aware that unlike in English, where only people and animals have genders, in Spanish, every single noun has a gender. So this means that even inanimate objects, concepts, ideas, all are either masculine or feminine, which is pretty wild when you think about it. And from there, the article and the adjectives that we use with that noun all have to correspond in gender. So for example, mesa, right, meaning table, is feminine. So the article that would translate as the in English, if we want to say the table, is la mesa. Libro, book, is masculine. So the article that would translate to the in English, the book, is el. So we'll have to say el libro. But did you know that there is also an article in Spanish that is completely neutral? This conversation came up recently in Camino Spanish Story Club, which is my Spanish program for upper beginners and intermediates. And I noticed that a lot of Spanish learners don't use this neutral article nearly as much as a native speaker would in everyday conversation. And so although we've had this conversation inside of Caminos, today I wanted to share it with all of you so that you guys can start to sound more like a native Spanish speaker, and we'll learn it through the way that I always find best, which is through a story. All right, guys, so the Spanish neutral article that you are going to be listening for and reading as you hear this short story is lo. Now keep in mind that there are other ways to use lo, but today we are focusing on its use as a neutral Spanish article. So as you listen to and read this story, see where you spot lo and see if you can catch on to how it's being used exactly and kind of what it means that it's a neutral article before I even tell you. Okay, let's work on those powers of observation. Let's go.
Era una tarde soleada y decidí salir a caminar por el parque. Mientras paseaba, observaba el hermoso paisaje. Lo bonito de la naturaleza es que siempre nos sorprende. De repente, me di cuenta de que no sabía qué hacer con mi día, así que decidí sentarme en un banco y reflexionar un poco. Lo importante, pensé, es pasar tiempo de calidad con la familia y amigos. Así que saqué mi teléfono y llamé a mi mejor amiga para invitarla a tomar un café. Mi amiga habla español y yo estoy aprendiendo. Mientras esperaba que ella llegara, pensé en lo difícil que es aprender un idioma nuevo. Afortunadamente, las historias nos ayudan mucho en ese sentido. Recordé lo bueno que es usar las historias para aprender idiomas, ya que te permiten ver el lenguaje usado en situaciones comunes o interesantes. Finalmente, mi amiga llegó y comenzamos a charlar sobre muchos temas diferentes. Hablamos de los temas que extrajimos de un libro que ambos leímos recientemente. El libro nos mostró lo interesante que es la historia y lo mucho que podemos aprender de ella. Lo triste que es decir adiós a las personas que amamos y lo importante que es disfrutar del tiempo que pasamos juntos. Ella me contó algunas cosas en las que nunca había pensado. Terminamos nuestro café y nos despedimos. Mientras caminaba hacia casa, me di cuenta de que lo bueno de la vida es que siempre hay algo que aprender.
All right, you probably noticed lo in a lot of those sentences. Now, unlike gender-sensitive articles like el and la that go before nouns, lo is typically placed before an adjective. Here are the examples from our story. Lo bonito, lo importante, lo difícil, lo bueno, lo interesante, lo mucho, lo triste. Now, to reflect these same thoughts in English, we'll often use the word thing in English. Here are some examples from our story. Lo bonito de la naturaleza es que siempre nos sorprende. The nice thing about nature is that it always surprises us. Lo bonito, the nice thing. Lo importante, pensé, es pasar tiempo de calidad con la familia y amigos. The important thing, I thought, is to spend quality time with family and friends. Lo importante, the important thing. Mientras caminaba hacia casa, me di cuenta de que lo bueno de la vida es que siempre hay algo que aprender. As I walked home, I realized that the good thing about life is that there is always something to learn. Lo bueno, the good thing. And when we're not using thing, we'll often use how to create an equivalent sentence in English. Notice these examples from the story. Mientras esperaba a que ella llegara, pensé en lo difícil que es aprender un idioma nuevo. While I waited for her to arrive, I thought about how difficult it is to learn a new language. Lo difícil, how difficult. Recordé lo bueno que es usar las historias para aprender idiomas. I remembered how good it is to use stories to learn languages. Lo bueno, how good. El libro nos mostró lo interesante que es la historia y lo mucho que podemos aprender de ella, lo triste que es decir adiós a las personas que amamos y lo importante que es disfrutar del tiempo que pasamos juntos. So the book showed us how interesting history is and how much we can learn from it and how sad it is to say goodbye to the people we love and how important it is to enjoy the time we spend together. Lo interesante, how interesting, lo mucho, how much, lo triste, how sad, lo importante, how important. And there you have it. Now it's your turn. Can you come up with a sentence that uses the neutral article lo? Try to create a sentence that you can actually see yourself using in your day-to-day life. I can't wait to read your comments below. If you like this video, well, go ahead and give me a like. But I have to tell you, I can't actually take all the credit for it. These are the types of discussions that my students inside of my program, Camino Spanish Story Club, actually inspire me to talk about because they're questions that come from them. Caminos is a very unique environment in which you are led step by step to extract exactly what you need from the stories. However, you're also given space for your own discoveries. After all, we're not going to overload you by explaining every single thing until you ask about it. Curious learners hang on to new information better. If you're interested in joining the fun, you can see what Caminos is all about by clicking the link below in the description box. If you love little Spanish tidbits like this, you can check out this video next. And don't forget to go out and share part of your own story with someone in your new language today. Hasta la próxima, amigos.